Thank you for being here. Today we're going to have a class on blessing in disguise, on calamities and suffering, and how to decode them. I'm going to sing Jaya Radha Maharaj. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari 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 Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashora Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana 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 Yamuna Tira Vanachari Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashora Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana 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 Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Thank you everyone for being here. I'm honored. I wish I'm not as prepared as I wish I was. It took me a long time to get this put together. But I'm going to quote from Srimad Bhagavatam 8:25. So please repeat it to me. Vipada santus tatshat shashvat
Vipada santu tasasvat.
tatra jagat guru
Tatra tatra jagadguru.
bhavato darshanam yatsyat
Bhavato darshanam yapsyat.
apunar bhava darshanam
Apunar bhava darshanam.
vipada santu tatshashvat
Vipada santu tasasvat.
tatra jagat guru
Tatra tatra jagadguru.
bhavato darshanam yatsyat
Bhavato darshanam yasyat.
apunar bhava darshanam.
Apunar bhava darshanam.
Anyone who would like to recite?
Vipada santu tasasvat.
Vipada santu tasasvat
Tatra tatra jagadguru.
tatra jagat guru
Bhavato darshanam yasyat.
bhavato darshanam yasyat
Apunar bhava darshanam.
apunar bhava darshanam. Anyone else?
Vipada santu tasasvat,
Vipada santu tasasvat.
tatra tatra jagadguru,
Tatra tatra jagadguru.
bhavato darshanam yatsyan,
Bhavato
Bhavato darshanam yasyat.
apurna bhava darshanam.
Apunar bhava darshanam.
So the translation: I wish that all calamities would happen again and again so that we could see again and again. For seeing you means that you will no longer see repeated birth and death. The purport: generally the distressed, the needy, the intelligent, and the inquisitive who have performed some pious activities worship or begin to worship the Lord. Others who are thriving in misdeeds only, regardless of status, cannot approach the supreme due to being misled by illusory energy. Therefore, for pious person, if there is calamity, there is no other alternatives than to take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. Constantly remembering the lotus foot of the Lord means preparing for liberation from birth and death. Therefore, even though there is so-called calamities, they are welcome because they give us an opportunity to remember the Lord, which means liberation. One who has taken shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, which are accepted as the most suitable boat for crossing the ocean of nations, can achieve liberation as easily as one leaps over the holes made by the hoofs of a calf. Such persons are meant to reside in the abode of the Lord, and they have nothing to do with a place where there is danger in every step. This material world is certified by the Lord in Bhagavad Gita as a dangerous place full of calamities. Less intelligent persons prepare plans to adjust to those calamities without knowing that the nature of this place is itself full of calamities. They have no information of the abode of the Lord, which is full of bliss and without trace of calamity. The duty of the same person, therefore, is to be undisturbed by the worldly calamities, which are sure to happen in all circumstances. Suffering all sorts of unavoidable misfortunes, one should make progress in spiritualization, because that is the mission of human life. The spirit soul is transcendental to all material calamities. Therefore, the so-called calamities are called false. A man may see a tiger swallowing him in a dream, and he may cry for this calamity. Actually, there is no tiger and there is no suffering. It is simply a case of dreams. In the same way, all calamities of life are said to be dreams. If someone is lucky enough to get in contact with the Lord by devotional service, it is all gain. Contact with the Lord by any of the 9 devotional service is always forward step on the path of going back to Godhead. So this is the teaching of Kunti Devi. I chose this shloka on purpose because it's very instructive. She speaks about that less intelligent man is trying to get, to overcome this, to prepare for these calamities and obstacles, instead of approaching the Lord to take shelter at His lotus foot. And generally, people are trying to, just like ants, they're trying to prepare for the winter time. And we say that we're trying to gather and get stronger for the rainy days. And what usually happens? We get more rainy days. And so calamities are not curses. They serve as a powerful trigger for spiritual transformation. And for a devotee, adversity is not a punishment. It is divine invitation. So the danger is not the danger is not suffering on its own. The real danger is forgetting Krishna. And often in these moments of suffering, we are overcome with fear, anxiety, and bewilderment, and we are looking for fast reliefs, such painkillers, stress pills against anxiety. I used to take pills against anxiety, and but they didn't help. They only numbed me, and so it was not solving anything. So suffering is actually liberation in action. So in Srimad Bhagavatam 1.8.24, Kunti Devi, in fact, this is, I think it's also Kunti Devi. My dear Krishna, your Lordship has protected us from poison cake, from a great fire, from cannibals, from vicious assembly, from suffering during our exile in the forest, and from a battle where great generals fought. And now you have saved us from the weapon of Ashwatthama. So the list of dangerous encounters is submitted here. Devaki was once put in difficulty by her envious brother, otherwise she was well. But Kunti Devi and her son were put into difficulty one after another for years and years together. They were put in trouble by Duryodhana and his party due to the kingdom, and every time the son of Kunti was saved by the Lord. So in spite of this, although the suffering were greater than those of ordinary person could endure, Kunti Devi, she didn't beg for relief. She, on the contrary, she prays to suffer even more. which reveals her mood, her devotion behind her prayers. So for the reason that her suffering will increase her devotions to the Lord and bring her ultimate liberation. So this is a different level of devotion when you have full trust and a pure love for Krishna. When you consciously and intentionally invite those calamities and suffering in your life, because they reveal us who we are and reveal our relationship with Krishna. So happiness makes us grateful, but suffering makes us surrendered. And Kunkwiti wasn't asking for pain, she was asking for Krishna's presence. So here is a extracted one picture about the lighthouse. So the question is, when the lighthouse is the most valuable, right? Is during the storm. When there is calamities, when crisis strikes, we look for a divine guidance, and then the lighthouse becomes useful, and so calamity becomes the compass pointing to Krishna. It reminds us to take shelter in His holy name. Is it? Can you see it? Okay. So in pain we pray, and in comfort we forget. Yeah. Krishna gives and forgives, but man takes and forgets. And also calamity is also compared with spiritual clocks. There is a clock here. Yeah. They wake us from the illusion of permanence from our dreams, just like we have an alarm and wake us from our dreams. And in the same way, without them we stay asleep in material life, unaware of our true purpose. But we only wake up when the dreams turn into nightmares. So when we are confronted with difficulties in life, with severe pain or suffering, then the alarm, this calamity works as an alarm, and we wake up from this nightmare, and we try to find shelter, and calling for Krishna. So the pain that purifies is more valuable than pleasure that pollutes us. And here is an analogy of the sunrise through the fog. Comfort can be a fog that blinds us to spiritual reality. Suffering clears the fog, revealing the spiritual sunrise, Krishna's grace. So in difficulty, the soul sees clearly, and only in darkness does the soul truly see. And for example, in my early Krishna consciousness in before 2022, I was not that determined, and I was chanting sometimes one round, 2 rounds, sometimes 3 rounds. But it was not an everyday commitment. And very close to the end of that year, I got severely sick, and I couldn't eat for about 4 months, and I lost 20 kilos. And I was experiencing a near-death experience, and I was flat on the floor, and my mother was in the room. And as I was laying down, I couldn't breathe, I couldn't move. So I thought, this is it. This is my last breath. And in my shallow condition, I whispered to my mother, I thought I'm not gonna be emotional. I said that I'm leaving, and then I closed my eyes and I chanted. I started to chant. For some reason, I felt like I need to chant the holy name. And as soon as I started to chant, I regained my breath, and I regained my strength. And by the time the ambulance was there, I could breathe. And so that in that moment, I saw light just in this sadness through this fog, when when we are in comfort, we can see. But when calamities, suffering, or a disease strikes us, then it's like a Krishna in this way shows mercy, and he reveals himself, some aspect of him. Therefore, we can we find the need for surrender. So just like Titanic, our material arrangement are doomed to sink. Only the boat of devotion can cross the ocean of birth and death. So we shouldn't decorate the sink ship, but rather to rescue, the rescue boat of bhakti. Because when the world goes under, bhakti stays afloat. Right? And the boat, if there is a captain on the boat, is even better. And that captain is a guru. Guru is the captain, and we rely on his message, so he can direct us into the sails toward Krishna boat. So it's like a guaranteed path through. Yes. So what will you do when these calamities come? Kunti chose the greatest path. She welcomed suffering because she recognized true gift behind the pain, and he brought her closer to Krishna. And just like, therefore, even though she says, therefore, even though there are so-called calamities, they are welcome because they gave us an opportunity to remember the Lord, which means liberation. Therefore, pain is not the enemy. The forgetful of Krishna is. So the real danger is the repetition of birth and death, and that must be stopped. This is in Prabhupada's lecture. And Krishna allows us to suffer because pain reminds us, drives us into his arms. It reminds us our real purpose of life. And so it wakes us up, not it doesn't punish us. And just like when Krishna decides to kill a demon, that's not out of envy or hatred, but rather compassion. Because when our soul is addicted to sinful activities, in order for them to not accumulate further karmic activities, Krishna kills him, his demonic qualities, and therefore he will not have to go through hellish worlds, and suffer unlimitedly. In Bhagavad Gita 2:14, in fact, when Arjuna was overcome with grief, what did Krishna says? He said, "O son of Kunti, the non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress, and their disappearance in due course are like the appearance and disappearance of winter and summer seasons. They arise from sense perception, as Kiwan of Bharata, and one must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed." So we need to learn how to tolerate. Probably familiar that the teaching that we should be humble as grass and tolerant as tree. But to become tolerant as tree, we need to create a foundation. Just like for a house to be steady and firm, we need a deep cemented foundation. And so no matter what calamities comes, the house stay firm and safe. And so in the similar way, if just like a tree, we need to become a strong tree, we need to focus on the root, and that root is Krishna consciousness. And the deeper we are into the ground, the firmer we become. And no matter of the calamities outside, a snow, a hurricane, whatever it might be, snow, heavy rain, the tree stays unmoved. and does not complain about anything and shows real compassion by providing fresh air. So we should learn from a tree and become like one, as tolerant as tree. So this world teaches us to avoid the pain at all cost. But Bhagavad Gita teaches us to tolerate pain and keep doing our duty. And most people avoid. They trying to avoid pain or to get rid of pain, right? But we think that we want to kind of solve them really quickly and get rid of them. But we don't really solve the problems. The problem solves us, because within problems, it reveals our true nature, and the majority of people think that by solving a problem, or get rid of a problem, this is going to be some kind of happiness, liberation. But in fact, it imprisons us even further. The solution is to seek for those problems intentionally, because the more problems we solve, the better we become at anything. In any society, a person who solves more problems, he is more valuable, right? And if we solve problems for other people, especially if we give a better solution for a problem, our value increases as a result. So intentional solving problem, because the problem is not the problem itself. The problem is our attitude about the problem, and depends how we perceive the problem. And or for example, often we want to get to reduce our responsibilities. Right? We think that by having less responsibility, we are free. But in fact, when we don't have responsibility, we become imprisoned as well. Because responsibility is just the ability to respond. And if I say I am not responsible for that, I just don't have, that means I don't have the ability to respond. So whenever, in other words, we're not invited to solve the problem. You have no voice, because so this is not my responsibility. But responsibility puts exposes ourselves to opportunities. So so in Krishna consciousness, if we take responsibility rather than avoid responsibility, we become, Krishna becomes pleased. Yeah. So pain opens the heart to real love. And often we are trying to protect our hearts from breaking. We think that we sort of like keep it in a jug. Please don't touch it. It's very vulnerable. But in fact, there is a beautiful saying that a heart should be broken so many times until it opens. So the funny thing about about life, that we should do the opposite and seek, put ourselves in vulnerable position, because that opens us and teaches us compassion, teaches us vulnerability, empathy, love, just because of this pain. But when we avoid pain, we are closing ourselves. Become closed-minded, not open for growth. So let's be honest. When everything is going well, when we have money, when we have our relationships and good health, we often forget Krishna. But and we also become spiritual lazy. But when we are broke, that's when we cry out in prayer. That's when the chanting becomes real. And that's when we finally say, I need you, Krishna. I have nothing else. So, so we shouldn't waste our suffering, because our suffering transforms us. They opens us to it's like opens the layers of our personality. Gradually, the little angel that is within us comes on the surface gradually. And instead of asking why me, we should ask what Krishna is trying to teach me in this situation. Always bring Krishna into the picture whenever we suffer. A practical way of saying it is, let life touch you, break you, reflect you. Let pain teaches me. Let tears cleanse me. Let wound opens me. Let grief be your guru, and let Krishna guide you. We often don't want to be touched or break or reflected because of fear and uncertainty. But this is actually the key to becoming closer to Krishna. So the holy name is the only shelter amidst calamities, because the holy name is Krishna himself. Even though it is difficult to feel it, but whenever we chant, especially in difficulty, we feel some kind of peace, some kind of joy, even in the beginning. So that is the indication that whenever we chant the holy name, whenever we recite the holy name, we invite his presence, and even though we cannot see him, he is there, and he gradually purifies our heart, our mind, our senses, our intelligence, and we become pure and uncontaminated. And for example, if someone has like a bracelet with beads, if you look at it, I don't have one, but you don't see the thread in between. But it's the thread that connects the beads. Right? But if you break the thread, then all the beads fall apart. So even though the thread is invisible, he still connects all the beads. So in the same way, Krishna is like an invisible thread, right? And he connects everything. And even though we cannot see him as a person, but we see him as Brahman, his effulgence, which is all over the places. And so whenever we're overwhelmed by calamities, by suffering and all sorts of pain, we should constantly chant. Always invite Krishna in those moments. In hospital, prison cells, on battlefields, when our world is on fire, and not just in bad moments, but also in good moments. It's very easy to cry for Krishna when we suffer, but it's more difficult when we are very comforted. So comfort is not helping us. We need to learn to become comfortable being uncomfortable. Every successful person thinks like that. So Kunti prayer says that let there be calamities again and again, because in them we saw you. So the goal is not comfort, the goal is Krishna. And so if suffering leads to surrender, if pain leads to purity, if heartbreak leads to the holy name, then let there be calamities, just like Queen Kunti says. And because they connect us to Krishna. They always keep us woke. The Kunti prayer is not madness, it's clarity. So we should seek remembrance, not relief. Krishna hides more in our tears than in our comfort. When we are in tears, our true, real feelings resurface, come on the surface. And when we are happy and undisturbed, our chanting becomes mechanical. We are more we practice out of duty, not of spontaneous love. But whenever we are overwhelmed by uncertainty, then we cry out loud, more sincere and with true feeling. And when that happens, the bud flower of the holy name gradually starts to open, and the 64 transcendental qualities of Krishna gradually reveals itself, even in this material world, because the holy name and Krishna himself is non-different. Therefore, therefore that means the holy name is transcendental, so it contains the 64 transcendental qualities. And we only have, I think it's 54 or 55, in minute quantity of those transcendental qualities. So we need to cultivate surrender, not escape. And the prayer, and try the prayer, Krishna, don't remove this difficulty until I find you in it. We often trying to escape, through scrolling social media endlessly, or watching unfavorable content, or intoxicating ourselves. And so we're running from ourselves instead of let this moment touch us, to reflect us. And so to ask Krishna to guide us within those moments rather than escape. So we can, before bed, we can ask, how did I respond to today's challenges, with fear or by faith? Did I use my suffering today to deepen my remembrance, or forgetfulness, so by trying to escape from what is instead of embracing, and let that calamity serve as an opportunity to approach Krishna, to beg Krishna, to cry for Krishna, to serve him with love. And am I praying to escape or praying for realization? Yeah. And so with Krishna blessing, I have to conclude the class today, so thank you. Thank you for your kind attention. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
If anyone have Hare Krishna.